Guys, the yield curve is inverting.
Oh my God! Okay, it's happening. Everybody stay calm.
What's the
Everybody
procedure,
stay calm.
everyone? What's the procedure?
Stay calm.
Wait.
Everybody just calm down.
What's up, you guys? Welcome to the video. My name is Brandon. Today we're going to be talking about what in the world is this yield curve that everybody's talking about on the news and what you're probably reading about online. We'll talk about what an inversion is. We'll basically just talk about why is this an important metric to follow for an investor, and I will try to keep things as simple as possible for you guys. Because as I'm filming this video, it was actually about a week or so from now, we did have news break that we did see an official inversion of the yield curve. Now, before we talk about what an inversion is, let's take a step back and look at what the yield curve actually is. And you may or may not have seen a graph like this before, but this right here is a very typical looking chart of the yield curve, all right? That's the yield curve right there. It's this blue line. And this is what we would call a normal looking curve. It kind of slopes up and over to the right. But to explain what we're looking at here, first we need to understand, like, what is this even showing us? And the yield curve is directly related to bonds, in particular US Treasury notes. And you will kind of hear those two things interchangeably. But when you go out and you invest in a bond or a Treasury note, for any new investors out there, essentially what you're doing is you're lending out your money, okay? You can be lending out your money to a government, to a corporation, or to a bank. It's a very, very safe investment, or a safe asset. It's one of the safest assets out there. And in return for lending your money, you're gonna be receiving an interest rate or some sort of yield. Now, depending on how long the term of the bond is, the amount of income or the amount of yield that you're gonna be receiving will absolutely vary. For example, if I said right now that I wanted to go out and buy a 1-year government bond or a 1-year Treasury note, what that means is I'm going to be lending out my money to the government, to the US government, for a year. And in return, let's say they're going to pay me a 2% yield. And this is, of course, just like for the likes of this example. Now, if I instead of lending my money out for 1 year, what if I bought a 5-year bond or a 10-year bond? Well, maybe then the yield that I would be receiving would be a little bit higher, maybe something like 3.5 or 4%. There's usually going to be a difference in the yield that you receive depending on the term of the bond. And that is completely logical. Like, if I was going to lend my money out for 1 year versus 10 years, you should kind of expect to get rewarded better for the longer term bond. There's more risk, there's more uncertainty the longer and longer the bond is. So as an investor, you should be rewarded for that in the form of a higher yield. Now, to revisit the curve here, that is essentially what this is explaining. So on the bottom here, we have represented the tenure or the term or length of the bond. And then on the left side here, we have the yield. So taking a look at this chart, and keep in mind, guys, this chart was taken as of September 2018. So a little bit outdated, but the point will still get across here. What this is telling us is that a 1-month bond as of September 2018 was paying us a 2.1% yield. Now, if we were to look over here to, let's say, a 10-year bond, well, that's looking like it's paying us, around the 3 or 3.1% range. And that's very typical of what we would expect, right? The longer bonds should pay the higher yields. And that's why we kind of see this upward sloping curve. Now, as time goes on, this yield curve is slowly going to be shifting. And technically speaking, like, every day, the prices and the yields of these bonds, they're like constantly moving, like very, very minorly. They're changing every single day. And as time goes on, or over time, we will see what's called a flattening of the yield curve. Like, if this is what the curve looks like, we're gonna see what's called a flattening, and then at one point, an inversion of the yield curve. And I will show you guys this dynamic chart over here. This is just another way of looking at it. On the right, we have the performance of the S&P 500. And at that given time period, on the left, we have the corresponding yield curve. So let's say, for example, I hover over here to June of 2004. Now, what this is telling us is that as of June 2004, if I were to have invested in a 3-month bond, I would be receiving about a 1.8 or 2% yield. Now, if I were to have invested in a 5-year bond, the yield I would have been receiving is 3.8 or 4%. I can't really tell here the exact number. And a 30-year bond would be yielding about 5%. Now, I'll go over here and hit this animate button. And what we'll see is we'll see how the curve reacts as time goes on. So as you can see, as time goes on, the yield curve is shifting, or it's moving. And that's because, again, every day these yields and prices are constantly changing. Now, what we see is that the yield curve is slowly starting to flatten out. So the curve is becoming less sloped. Now, I'll pause it right here and let's take a look at what this is telling us. So as of this time period, so now we're looking at January of 2006, so a couple years later, well, we see a drastically different situation in terms of the yield curve. So now what this is telling us is that as of January 2006, if I were to go out and get a 3-month bond, well, that was currently yielding just under 4.65%. Now, what's very interesting to note here is that a 10-year bond at this same time period had a very similar yield. So this is what we'd call a flattening of the yield curve. So why would we see this, and why is this important to us as investors? So to reiterate here, we're seeing the short-term bond yields, those yields are rising, or the longer-term bond yields are falling, or possibly a combination of both. And we're seeing this yield curve kind of flatten out. And this is very interesting because, as we touched on earlier, longer-term bonds should be giving you a higher yield. But looking at the yield curve, the flatter and flatter this curve gets, well, that's not the case. And actually, if I were to animate this graph just a little bit longer, at one point, what we'll actually see is called an inversion. So almost like a downwards sloping curve, or like a flip, or the opposite of a normal looking curve. And this is a very important sign to investors, because when we're seeing an inversion of the yield curve, I mean, what this is telling us technically is that the shorter term rates have higher yields than the longer term rates. And that really doesn't make much sense at all, does it? I mean, why would investing in a 3-month bond or a 1-year bond give me a higher yield than investing in a 30-year bond? Now, the answer to that is because there's a higher demand for the longer term bonds. So when there is this higher demand for longer term bonds, what that does is it increases the price of these bonds, but also decreases the yield of these bonds. And I know that that's kind of confusing here, but that's how bonds work, okay? The price and the yield work inversely. So when the price is going up because there's a lot of demand for these bonds, the yields start dropping down. And what's very important to look at here is, when do we notice an inversion of the yield curve? Okay, look how interesting this is. Right before the big crash of 2008, or the financial crisis. So if I were to kind of scroll back over here, guys, just to kind of replay this, we see a normal looking curve. And the closer and closer we get to this crash, we see the yield curve start to kind of flatten out. And then at one point, it actually inverts. And actually, if we were to look back over here as well, just before the tech crash, we did have an inversion of the yield curve here too, just before the early 2000s, before the big pop of the tech bubble. So an inversion of the yield curve is what investors would call a leading indicator of a recession. And to kind of tie things all together here, okay, because I know you still may be confused. If investors believed that there was a recession on the horizon, right? If the economic numbers weren't looking strong, if things aren't looking good, and investors believe, in the near future, we are going to be seeing a recession, what we will see is that investors will start to cycle their money out of the equity market. Like, why would I want to invest in stocks if, a recession's coming, if the stock market's going to crash? And they'll start pouring that money into safer assets, in particular, these longer term bonds, right? The 10-year, the 20-year, the 30-year bonds. Again, meaning that there's a higher demand for these longer term bonds, which then drives up the price of these bonds and drops down the yields of these longer term bonds. And that's why we start to see the back end of this curve kind of coming down, and then at one point see an inversion. And I hope that that kind of makes at least some sense for you guys. Now, flipping over to the next screen here, guys, very interesting thing to look at here is that prior to the last 7 recessions, all right, that's what's represented here in these little darker gray shaded areas. prior to each of these recessions, we did see an inversion of the yield curve. And this is actually showing us the spread between the 2 and the 10-year yields. But essentially what this is telling us is that when the line dips below this red, that's when we've seen an inversion of the yield curve. And as we can see here, very indicative, we are seeing an inversion prior to each of the past recessions. So you can see why investors monitor this indicator so heavily. Now, there's two things that I want to note here to wrap up the video. Number one is that when we see an inversion of the yield curve, that does not mean that we are immediately going to be heading into a recession or that immediately the stock market is going to come crashing down. Again, this is a leading indicator. So if investors thought a year from now or 2 years from now, the economy is going to be into a downslide, now they'd go out and start buying these bonds. So now we start seeing these shifts in the yield curve. But just understand that that doesn't mean that we are at a recession just yet. In fact, if we actually look here at the financial crisis, for example, we started to see an inversion of the yield curve about 2 years before the recession actually hit. So back in, I believe this is early 2006 or maybe even late 2005. And I believe the number was, after we saw the first inversion of the yield curve, it was something like 28 months before the Great Recession actually ended up hitting. And the number that I kind of always like to go off of, just as a rule of thumb, is somewhere along the lines of like 11 months or a year after we see the inversion. That's when we can expect the recession to actually hit. Just understand that at least what history's told us, there will still be a delay. Secondly, very important, as we stand today, as I'm filming this video, are we seeing an inversion of the yield curve? We are seeing a partial inversion of the yield curve, okay? A partial inversion. So take a look over here, guys. This is the yield curve, just another way of looking at it. Again, we're looking here at this blue line. It's a little more in depth or a little more broken down. We can kind of see the exact yields based on their term. We have seen an inversion of the 3-year and the 5-year yields only, okay? So the 3-year yield is ever so slightly than the 5-year yield, as we can kind of see by toggling back here. Now, in my opinion, that is not something to worry about. Technically, the indicator that investors look for, the one that is actually meaningful, is when we see an inversion between the 2-year and the 10-year yields. That's the meaningful one. When we see an inversion of the 2 and the 10-year, okay, that to me would be a cause for concern. But as we can see, look at this chart here, guys. This is the 10 and the 2-year spread. So the spread between the two yields, we have not yet seen an inversion. And that's why this spread here, it hasn't dipped below the red line. So obviously, depending on when you're watching this video, things may have changed. But as of filming this video, guys, we're seeing a partial inversion of the yield curve. In my opinion, is not something to be too concerned about. And that's why you always have to be careful about the information that you hear online, because I know personally, all over the Facebook groups, all over Reddit and YouTube, whatever, everyone's typing inversion of the yield curve, blah, blah, blah. We are seeing a partial inversion, okay? Keep an eye out for the 2-year and the 10-year spread. So I hope that video was able to clear some things up for you guys. The yield curve is not a very simple concept to understand or to grasp. So don't feel bad if you're kind of struggling with this. And I apologize if I didn't explain it as well as I hoped. But if you did enjoy the video and if you learned something new, please do give the video a like and feel free to leave any comments down in the comment section below. I'll do the best that I can to answer them. And if you're not already subscribed to the channel, I post a video every Monday, so subscribe and hit the bell. Also, if you're interested in joining our private membership group, that's that first link down in the description below. But again, I hope that my explanation kind of cleared some things up for you guys. But as always, I thank you for watching and I'll see you in the next video.